You saved us. I know that. But I can't go on acting for the cameras and then just ignoring each other in real life.
She's not who they think she is. And she has to be eliminated.
I agree, but in the right way, at the right time.
We have to go before they kill us. They will kill us.
People want to fight. I'm staying here.
Hey guys, Lucas here again for another movie review. Today we're going to be talking about The Hunger Games Catching Fire, which is the second installment in the very, very popular Hunger Games franchise and is based on the second book of the same name. The Hunger Games Part 2 basically has the same recurring cast as Part 1. You got Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss, Josh Hutcherson as Peeta, Woody Harrelson as Haymitch, Elizabeth Banks as Effie Trinket, and pretty much all your favorite characters from the book are here. And this is actually, this was a little bit different of an experience for me because I actually read the first Hunger Games book, so it was one of when I saw the first one, it was one of the few movies based on books that I actually read, but that was the only one I read. So this one was one, I didn't read this book, and maybe that's why I like this film a lot more than the first. Hunger Games Catching Fire, it takes place obviously after the events of Part 1, where Katniss and Peeta were the victors of the Hunger Games, and Katniss has kind of become a symbol of hope in the district, and President Snow, played greatly by Donald Sutherland, is basically organizes this whole Hunger Games where the victors of each Hunger Games compete against each other. That way he could stop the hope and the a forthcoming rebellion from each of the districts. Acting in this movie I think is better all around than the first one. Jennifer Lawrence again is great as Katniss. She's very convincing in the emotional scenes, as we all know she can. She's again badass in the action and survival scenes. Josh Hutcherson, one of the biggest improvements of this movie was his performance from the first one to this one. In the first one he just seemed like a whiny little bitch. This one he holds his own, and I think like his voice got deeper too. Like I could actually take him more seriously. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I thought he was a lot better, and actually bought the relationship between him and Katniss a lot more than I did in the first one. We also have some new people such as the actor that played Finnick, who I'll get to later. I liked him a lot, and also Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's the new head game master, kind of working under Donald Sutherland. I liked him a lot too, and it's great to see him and Donald Sutherland work against one another. I was so thankful too because they got a different director for this one. We got Francis Lawrence, who's directed I Am Legend and Constantine, instead of Gary Ross, who directed the first one. And maybe the biggest improvement, because this was my biggest problem with the first one, is there is no shaky cam. Maybe like a couple moments here and there, but nothing too bad. But the first one was literally just this for the whole entire games, and I couldn't stand it. It was giving me a headache. We actually got someone that has heard of a tripod to direct this one, and the movie just looks a lot better. That's also due because I think they got like twice the budget as the first one, but the film looks a lot better. It keeps the same tone and feel of the first one, but also kind of makes an identity for itself. And overall, I think just Francis Lawrence was a major step up from Gary Ross. One of the problems that I had with the first one as well, and that was also comes from reading the book, was Katniss in the first film, she kind of creates a relationship with a little girl, Rue, in the first film. And that relationship was a lot stronger in the book. I know I sound like one of those people, but that relationship was a lot stronger in the book, and in the movie it felt kind of forced. Here, again, maybe because I didn't read these books, but when she meets the character Finnick, who you think is just going to be kind of the stereotypical jock, asshole type, and then once the game starts, I actually thought the relationship between all of the actual competitors in the games was far more interesting than in the first one, because you actually get to know them, and I just thought that dynamic made it a lot more interesting to watch. Also, the film does raise the stakes. It feels a lot grittier than the first one, and it definitely builds to an epic conclusion. As much as I like this movie, there's a few things that really keep it from being great, and I know a lot of people are loving this movie and they're calling it the Empire Strikes Back of the series. I don't know if you could quite call it that yet because, there's only been 2 of them. But that being said, the film is about 2.5 hours long, and it definitely has some pacing issues. For the first hour or so, or maybe a little over an hour, I was loving the movie, just like completely engrossed in it. And it did have some slow parts here and there, but then actually, once they get to the games, they're in the games for, I think, a lot longer period than in the first one. And it was actually around there where it started to slow down for me a lot, and it really started to feel really long, and I just wasn't as interested in it. And I don't remember feeling that way as much in the first, but that being said, I was really engrossed for the first half of it. I still cared what was happening, it just really, the length really got to me. One character that just feels really underdeveloped to me is the relationship between Katniss and Lenny Kravitz's character. I know I'm forgetting his name, I'm sorry, but you know, the costume designer, Lenny Kravitz, who I swear, I'm pretty sure there's no costume design for him. I think that's just how Lenny Kravitz dresses. The relationship between Katniss and that character just always seems really underdeveloped, and I don't know if it's because Lenny Kravitz doesn't really bring much to the role. He's not bad, but he's definitely the blandest out of the entire cast. But the relationship between him and Katniss just never felt fully developed, and I never really cared about that character just because it always felt kind of forced, but that's more of a minor complaint. That being said though, I think there is a lot to like here. I was definitely more excited for the next installment of the series after watching this than when I did the first one. And I also forgot to mention, I love Stanley Tucci as the announcer in this movie. He is so good. Whenever he's on the screen, he really lights the movie up. I think he's my favorite character, or at least my favorite supporting character in the movie. Forgot to mention him. I love him. But as I was saying, I think this is definitely a much stronger film than the first one. All the complaints I kind of had with the first one, I think they remedied here. Like I said, the film does feel very long, but that being said, I think if you're a fan of the series or you were disappointed in the first one, I think you're going to like this one a lot, and just for how excited it got me for the next two Mockingjay movies, I'm going to give Hunger Games Catching Fire 4 stars out of 5. That's my review of the Hunger Games Catching Fire. Let me know what you thought of it. Did you like the first one better, or did you like this one better? And are you excited for Mockingjay? And are you upset that they're splitting it into 2 movies and doing a Harry Potter thing? That always kind of annoys me, but let me know what your thoughts are on that. And if you like this review, please subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys later.
Any last advice?
Stay alive.